So here we are. This is Krista with Happy Alaskan. And today we're going to try and find a trail that doesn't have any snow. Let's go. Today the sun is shining and there's actual green leaves on some of the trees. Yay, summer's coming! Before I start hiking, I'm gonna grab a bite to eat. And today, this might be kind of a strange snack for, 9 o'clock in the morning, but I have some leftover pizza, so I'm gonna eat a little bit of that and then we'll get hiking. Is a fern, and the top part is unfurling, and it's called a fiddlehead. And certain species of fern, you can eat the fiddlehead in the spring. There is some concern about food safety, of course, but I had picked some and cooked them up a couple days ago, and I rinsed them, boiled them for a couple minutes, and then fried them for a couple minutes, and they were great. I believe this type of fern is called an ostrich fern, and what I've heard is you can tell it's an ostrich fern because the stem will be kind of U-shaped, like it'll be concave on the inner part. Today we're hiking up Bird Ridge Trail, which is about 5 miles round trip. It's fairly steep right out of the parking lot, and you go up about 3,500 feet where you get up to the ridge and can have a really great view of the surrounding mountains and of the ocean. This trail is located in the Chugach State Park, which is one of the 4 largest state parks in the United States. It also has over 280 maintained hiking and biking trails, all conveniently located right outside of the city, as you can probably hear some of the traffic. I was just passed by an older gentleman on his way down, and he was not just hiking this trail, he was actually running down the trail. And that's impressive not only because this trail is really steep, but it also is covered in sharp, loose rocks. When I was in elementary school, I had hiked up here with my family, and I fell on the way down. And I still have a scar on my leg from that experience. So while this is a popular hiking and running trail, a lot of people do that, it also is one you have to be really careful on. I'm starting to get up out of the tree line a little bit, at least away from the really big spruce trees. but it's just beautiful up here today. Actually, the forecast was for clouds, but as you can see, it is absolutely beautiful. There were just a couple of bald eagles down below. Funny that I'm higher than they are. And they were doing their mating ritual where they kind of fly around together a little bit and then they sort of dive down and then they come back up and they make those really interesting bald eagle screeching noises. But they're enjoying today as well, I guess. I just went past some more mountain runners on their way down and they told me that they had heard some kind of animal up higher, and they said it sounds really big, but they thought that I'd be okay. And as I've come up a little bit higher, actually I'm seeing a couple of Dall sheep. Not sure if you can make them out, but I'm hoping those are the big animal that they were referring to. However, just to be on the safe side, I think that I will go ahead and get out my bear spray, which I should have had out the whole time, I realize, but I will get it out now. It's just curious, so we'll keep an eye on them. It is time to stop and get something to eat. I'm pretty close up to the top, but getting hungry. And as always, I don't have a ton of time, so we'll just see how far I go and yeah, and then just enjoy wherever I end up. I'm still working on my leftover pizza, which actually is kind of delicious right now. Well, I'm at the point where I'm going to need to turn around. It's my time to start heading back down. This is a really great trail though for early spring hikes. It is south facing and ends up being pretty dry and free of snow early in the season. So definitely a good one for this time of year. This body of water behind me is called Turning an Arm, and it got that name after Captain James Cook and his crew came up here in the late 1700s looking for a route to the Northwest Passage. They came down this body of water and unfortunately had to turn again. So that is the story behind the name. Well, it is faster going down, but I have to be really careful. Like I mentioned, it can be pretty steep and lots of loose rocks, so I'm going to carefully watch my footing. As I'm sitting here on this little bench taking a break, I've been thinking about a person named Dolly Madison. And this may be an unlikely person to be thinking about on a hike like this, but she was the first lady and the wife to President James Madison during the war with Britain in 1812. She is often notably remembered for ordering the portrait of George Washington to be cut out of its frame with an axe to save it before the British came to burn the White House. However, the other part about Dolly that I find interesting is that she was a very well-liked First Lady. Someone once asked her why she thought she was so well-liked. her response was that it was probably because she liked everybody, and so they liked her back. I thought those were really wise words and a really good thing to think about, especially nowadays. And so I'm trying to adopt more of that attitude of just when I see people thinking, oh, you know, I like you, or just trying to have more of that positive attitude. So thank you, Dolly Madison. I'm going to take those words with me. I'm now getting back into the woods and getting closer to the trailhead. And whew, yeah, my legs feel a little bit like Jell-O, but it's been a really fun hike. If I did this every day, I'd really get in shape. Yeah, last little bit before we get to the parking lot. We can hear the traffic and helicopter, so we're getting close to civilization again. Well, that was a really nice spring hike. The trail was wonderfully dry and free of snow, and the views were fantastic as well. So, good times. Thank you so much for coming along, and we'll see you next time on Happy Alaskan.